Have you ever wondered why some women radiate a magnetic aura that makes it impossible to turn heads without even uttering a word or standing out? It's not because of their looks, status, or social skills. What they possess is a deep inner strength, a genuine self-confidence. This isn't the confidence of a rehearsed performance, but a self-confidence born from an awakened inner self, a harmony of mind, body, and soul. Carl Jung called this the journey back to the authentic primal self, untainted by societal expectations or wounds. A truly confident woman not only knows who she is, but also deeply believes it. This belief isn't born from external validation. It's the result of an inner journey where she sees herself in both her light and shadow, embracing everything. So what creates this extraordinary self-confidence, and how do we break free from that facade of external expectations and standards? In today's video, I'll show you how Jung explains this phenomenon and how you can ignite the process of awakening your inner goddess. Keep your eyes peeled. We're about to uncover this secret together. The question is, are you ready to face yourself? The number one well-kept secret is self-confidence. Do you truly trust yourself? Not when you put on a glamorous outfit or post a photo with a caption that says, "I'm fine." But in those moments when no one is watching, no one is expecting you to perform, just you and the mirror. The truth is, most of us don't truly trust ourselves. Even if we appear strong, determined, even inspiring to others, when the roles we play disappear, when night falls and our minds are laid bare, doubt creeps in. We doubt our feelings, our choices, even our very existence. Carl Jung once said that modern humanity is no longer facing a crisis of religion or morality, but an identity crisis where we've lost touch with our true self, our essence. When we lose ourself, the first thing that collapses is that deep trust in ourselves. That our intuition is valid, that our inner voice is a guide, not an enemy. If your light comes from an inner source, you can stand firm in any storm. But if that light is controlled from the outside, when the waves rise, you lose your way. This is the state of someone who lives without self-confidence. Their light depends on the recognition, praise, or directives from others. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of things going wrong. They all stem from this, not because you're weak, but because you've learned to relinquish the power to define yourself to others for too long. You become a product of external voices, parents, society, social media. The danger is that we unknowingly repeat this pattern every day. You hesitate to make simple decisions because you're afraid of being wrong. You stay silent when something goes wrong because you're unsure whether your feelings are worth expressing. These small actions are moments when you silently break the agreements you've made with yourself. Gradually, you develop the unconscious belief that your inner voice isn't important enough to be honored. Jung called this living from a social mask. When your self-confidence is stolen, you start living according to an image you think others want to see. Therefore, self-confidence isn't some hollow concept labeled as boss, girl, or high value. It's an inner state where you can stand tall in the storm because you know who you are and haven't abandoned yourself. It's like an ancient tree that doesn't need to grow taller to prove its worth. It just needs deep roots. A confident woman doesn't need to try to impress. Her energy commands respect not because of its loud voice, but because its silence carries a weight. Distinction number 2, goddess energy and wound energy. Two types of feminine energy coexist within every woman. One nourishes and radiates, the other silently bleeds. One draws you closer to your true self. The other imprisons you in a defensive mask. While Carl Jung didn't call these feminine energies, his theories on the anima, shadow, and individuation draw a clear distinction between a woman at peace with her inner world and a woman driven by her wounds. A woman in goddess energy isn't always soft, submissive, or perfect. On the contrary, she possesses a certain quiet power. This is a profound presence that makes you feel safe in her presence. She doesn't compete for attention because she is her own. She can say no without trembling. She can cry without shame, and she can love without losing herself. She has gone through the hell of her inner world and returned with understanding, not anger. In contrast, a woman in wound energy lives a defensive and reactive life. She may appear dazzling or sharp, but deep down, she is a trembling girl afraid of abandonment, betrayal, or being left unchosen. Needs external validation to feel valued. Unhealed wounds deep within the subconscious, she carries a love map tied to the auras. Consider two women walking into a party. One floats by like a cool breeze. She's not trying to attract attention, But you can't take your eyes off her. Her posture says, "Here I am." The other is equally beautiful, but a little tense. Her eyes move as if scanning for who's watching. Her laughter is a bit loud. One is present, the other is performing. A woman in goddess energy controls the situation. In Jungian terms, she has initiated the process of individuation, the reunification of ego and self, light and shadow. She is no longer a victim of archetypes, but one who consciously lives with them. Conversely, a woman in wound energy is often possessed by unintegrated archetypes, perhaps even the shadow. This causes her to overreact to things she hates in others because they are things she cannot accept within herself. These women often repeat patterns. They love the wrong people. They overwork. They are easily hurt. But they always blame themselves for being too weak. But this is not the truth. They live with their wounds instead of themselves. No one is born a goddess. Everyone has wounds and shadows. The difference lies in your choice. A woman with goddess energy doesn't deny her darkness. She embraces it, understands it, and transforms it into strength. Number 3 is the psychology of Jungian self-confidence. If the goddess energy is the state of a woman who has overcome her wounds, self-confidence is the light that shines through that journey. From Carl Jung's perspective, self-confidence isn't the empty repetition of positive affirmations, the upright posture, or the calculated smile. It is the inevitable result of a soul that has found its center. It isn't forged, it's awakened from within. If the ego hasn't confronted its shadow, if the journey of individuation hasn't begun, and if the subconscious mind still controls us from behind the scenes, true self-confidence cannot exist. Think of a majestic tree. We see its trunk and leaves, but its true vitality lies in its unseen roots. A confident woman is like a tree whose roots are deeply embedded in the soil of her soul. These roots represent standing on her own 2 feet, embracing both light and shadow, and the courage to no longer fear herself. Therefore, she doesn't need to convince others of her worth. She already believes it. Jung stated that true power emerges only when we dare to delve into the depths of our souls, where repressed memories, unnamed complexes, and unacknowledged shadows reside. It is this descent that opens the door to ascension. True self-confidence lies not in the outer light, but in the ability to step into the darkness without losing your way. Carl Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say you will do." This statement contains a fundamental truth. Self-confidence comes from repeated actions, not theory. No mystical ritual or positive affirmation is strong enough without concrete action. Inner confidence is built when there is consistency between what you say you will do and what you actually do. When you say you'll wake up early tomorrow and then procrastinate again the next day, your subconscious mind begins to doubt your words. This process, if repeated, develops into learned unreliability. When you repeatedly break promises to yourself, your body and mind stop expecting them. Conversely, when you keep every promise you make, no matter how small, when you complete a workout, when you don't text someone worthless, you rebuild an inner bond of trust. Therefore, true self-confidence comes not from external approval, but from the certainty that you won't betray yourself. Number 4, the secret to building self-confidence. If every promise you keep to yourself is a brick, self-confidence is the inner home built from those bricks. The first secret is keeping your promises to yourself. Keeping your promises to yourself doesn't just create discipline, it creates identity. Every promise kept doesn't just make you better. It builds your operational ego. It opens a door connecting you to your deeper soul, longing to live authentically. Where to start? Not with grand promises, but with small, consistent actions. Make 3 simple commitments for the next 7 days. These should be small, specific, and measurable. Write these commitments on a piece of paper and post them somewhere you can see them every day. As you complete each commitment, mark them off and feel the inner feeling that you've done what you said. This feeling is the signal your nervous system and subconscious mind register to rebuild inner trust. The second secret is to develop your intuition. When you build a foundation by keeping your promises, you begin to connect with the underlying source of primal wisdom, intuition. Carl Jung believed intuition was one of the 4 basic psychological functions. Intuition doesn't speak the language of logic. It comes as a gentle breeze, a heaviness in your chest, or a lightness spreading through your body. Sharpening your intuition requires returning to your body. Before making a decision, sit quietly for 3 minutes. Place your hand on your chest. Breathe deeply and ask yourself, what will it feel like in my chest if I choose this? Your body will whisper the answer to you. The third secret is to set boundaries to protect your inner confidence. You need boundaries to protect your awakening. Carl Jung framed boundaries not as a social skill, but as a spiritual act. When you allow others to repeatedly invade, belittle, or hurt you, it's not just a matter of weakness. It's a clear sign that your self-worth is being eroded, and when boundaries are eroded, self-confidence collapses. Setting boundaries isn't about opposing others. It's about protecting the inner foundation you've worked so hard to build. Number 5 is the influence of a confident woman. With every step you take to protect yourself, a light grows within you that you might not immediately recognize. And when this light meets the gaze of those around you, it activates something. Carl Jung said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there's any reaction, both are transformed. A confident woman is like a colorless, odorless catalyst, but she has the power to purify any space she enters, not by preaching, but by a profound authenticity that inspires others with just a nod. In psychology, this is called emotional regulation through the sympathetic nervous system. A stable and grounded nervous system creates a sense of security in others simply by being present. A woman with inherent confidence creates a quiet, healing space for other women simply by living authentically. She inspires without trying, by daring to stand tall in her imperfection, by saying no when her heart is in a difficult position. She sends a message of choosing herself over pleasing others. You can do the same. From the Jung's perspective, such a woman represents the archetype of the healer or guide, not by saving anyone, but by healing herself. If this video illuminated those silent doubts within you, those patterns of dependence on external approval, and reminded you that true self-confidence is not a flashy performance, but a deep inner trust built by keeping promises to yourself, I have a small favor to ask. Write in the comments section below to build your own inner authority and confidence. Write this powerful statement to seal your intention to do so. My promise to myself is my most sacred oath. Share with us and others on this path your decision to stop seeking external validation and trust your inner guidance. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Beyond Mind YouTube channel for more in-depth content on topics like Jungian archetypes, shadow work, and building authentic self-confidence. Remember, the most magnetic aura emanates not from the shiniest clothes or the loudest voice, but from a soul that never betrays itself.